parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just to hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, so come and listen to see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the weird mountain gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
The sound that I never thought I would miss. Recording
What?
in progress.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah, well, I heard it. But
Oh, got it. Let's see. Knock, knock, knock. Peck, peck, peck. Knock, knock.
who is it?
It's your friend, Miss B, come to visit.
It's me. It's Byron B.
Byron B.
Just like Ernest.
Golly.
Yep. So, all right. Tell me everything. Let's just get that out of the way. I am dying to know.
Now, I'm pretty sure you don't hear everything, but I will tell you some funny highlights, and then we're going to get right into politics. We're doing it. So most of y'all listening, hey, y'all, no, I just got back. I mean, literally just got back from leading a pilgrimage to some of the holy sacred sites in Cornwall.
Yep.
And I did that with a group called Wren Adventures, and that's a Wren like in Renaissance Fair.
Right.
Wren
Two N's?
Adventures. No, just one N.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's also an N in adventure,
Right.
but just one in Wren. Yeah, Wren Adventures. And they do all kinds of tours all over the place. And they are, their names are Paulo and Onsa.
Yeah.
And Onsa used to live, well, I think they both used to live here in Asheville. But Onsa was here for a long time. She had a beautiful studio down in the Wedge building, and they now live up in Virginia. Anyway, I've known her for a long, long time. And we cooked up because, we were going to go to Sicily originally.
I remember.
Back in, wait for it, 2020. That didn't happen. And then we thought about doing it in 2021, and that didn't happen. And I think by then, maybe by 2022, we just kind of was like, we're just going to not plan anything and see what happens. Well, what happened was this tour. And we didn't go to Sicily, obviously. We went to Cornwall, but it was really good. I cannot recommend them too highly.
Wow.
Wait, that didn't sound right. I recommend them as highly as they can be recommended by man or beast. And they do, so check them out, y'all. Listen, check them out and see what kind of tours they do. They do Dungeons and Dragons things.
Really?
Up in a castle in England. And then they do a lot of Italian stuff. So anyway, check them out and see what they offer, because it's always really good. And they are energetic and funny and smart and helpful, all that stuff. So
they have a nice website.
Yeah, it's a very nice website. And they got their stuff going on. So this was the first time they'd ever done Cornwall. And we got ourselves sometimes into a little, I don't know, a sticky situation. But it seemed like every time we turned on the sat nav, it would say, oh, that's about 20 minutes away. And an hour and a half later, when we got there. So I don't know how much of it was just, piskies screwing with us. How much of it was super narrow roads. I don't know. But it became a joke. How far away is that? 20 minutes. Ha, 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 ha. And the roads, I had not forgotten this, but the roads out in the country are very narrow, and yet they're dual highway. You can go there. There's 2 lanes. It's a 2-lane road on a 1-lane road. Yeah. And on either side are super high hedges or super high stone walls. And we just kept laughing because you creep along. I mean, Americans will creep along because we're not used to it, at about 25, 30 miles an hour, and look down, and the speed limit was posted at 60 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour. And we just laughed and laughed like, don't go 60. That seems like not a good thing to do. Anyway, so I'm going to say quickly that flying anywhere is very difficult right now. Mm-hmm. Period. Sure. We flew into one of the largest, busiest airports in the world, and it was fine. Unlike last year, I did not break Heathrow either time. But it's exhausting. It's a 7-hour flight, but by the time you check in 2.5 or 3 hours early at the airport, and then you fly to whatever other airport, if you are making a connection, then you wait at that airport, and then you fly for 7 hours. And then you get your luggage, all that stuff. It took a long, long time. So, and that was true coming and going. Wow. They canceled our flight on the way back. Yeah. And and they let me know at 1:00 in the morning when I was asleep. Oh. So I woke up at 7 and we were all packed, ready to go. I woke up at 7 to a text message that said your flight's been canceled. Period. That's all. That's all it said. That's all it said. So I spent the next, I don't know, it felt like the whole morning, but I think it was probably about 2.5 hours. Yeah. Getting it rearranged. In the past, when flights have been canceled, the airline says, oh, I'm so sorry, your flight at blah, blah, blah time has been canceled. And hold on, we're going to put you on the next available flight. And then they are working on that. And then usually within a few minutes, they go, oh, now you are on this flight, leaving at this time from this terminal. Okay. Nothing. So now, American Airlines just said, your flight's been canceled. And it was up to me to figure out, in the midst of the aftermath of that Microsoft disaster, to figure out how we were going to get home. It was fine, because it ended up, we had to stay another day.
Yeah.
The hotel just gave us another night at the hotel. We didn't even have to move hotels or rooms.
Oh, that's
But,
good.
but it was way more complicated than it needed to be. And one reason it was more complicated is get the crows ready. AI.
Oh my God.
Finally, after dealing with a chat, and it's obvious the chat was not generated by a human. And I would ask questions and it would go, well, I will do my very best to get right back to you about that. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I dealt with that, I don't know how long. And I finally said to Sarah, my friend that I was traveling with, I said, would you go on Google? Because I can't, because I'm stuck in an AI chat on my phone. Go to Google and get me a customer service number for American Airlines. And so she did.
Yeah.
So I finally just hung up on AI and just called, and the guy there was wonderful. It took him a long time to figure it out. He said, okay, so I could fly you into where? And I said, Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville. You can even fly us into Charlotte. Just get us home, get us out of here. So
Yeah.
anyway, he was wonderful, wonderful. And
Nice.
he got us all squared away. And obviously we got home. We dropped Sarah off at her house about 11:15 Wednesday night. And then we're home. So we're home. The trip itself was wonderful. There were magical things that happened. The people on the trip were wonderful. That we had a couple of health related issues that had to be dealt with, and the folks at Rent Adventures, they dealt with that. They are just very, very well organized.
So how many people went with you?
There were 9 of us all together. So it wasn't a great big tour, which was good.
That's real good. Now, were
Yeah.
you considered one of the guides or the guide as it is? Because that's not an easy job. People think that all you do is talk. And no, that's not it at all.
No, I was the guide, and then we had classes every day on different magical things.
Yeah. And you did
So
all of that too.
Yeah.
Well, see, now that's possible with, a group of 9, but is it easy? I would not think it would be easy at all. Did you have any help?
Well, I mean, I had the 2 people from Rent Adventures, and they took care of
Oh,
logistics.
that's great.
They were the
Okay.
logistics people, so they got the hotels. They got us in and out of hotels. They had
Okay.
rented a small van that we all traveled in. So they did the logistics part, and I did here we are in the gardens of St. Michael's Mount. And
Gotcha. Yeah. Now
And-
that's a different thing altogether. I mean, because
Yeah.
I was, good grief, did you have to help everybody with their airline stuff and their
No.
luggage? And
No.
I
No,
know that's hard work.
Well, they were, it was a group of pretty seasoned travelers.
Hmm.
And they were told to meet us at a particular point at a particular time, and we would pick them up and bring them to where we were all together. 2 of the people had rented a car, and they drove. But then once they got to where we all were, then we were all in the van together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
great.
It was really good.
Folks at Rent Adventures, they seem like they have their poop in a group. You know what they're doing?
They absolutely do. They are organized to a T. This was doing a tour to a place they didn't know. So
Was it the first time
glitches-
they'd ever gone to that one?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we were creating that tour as we did.
Okay.
I mean, before, of course, but so that's a new tour they can offer to their people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. I am
It was-
really happy that you got to complete it. Because I know you've been, I was there when Sicily started happening and all of that. And then COVID started happening. And, I was there when those kind of plans dissolved a little bit. So then when you told me that you were going to do Scotland, I thought, that's cool. Do it while you can. And I'm glad you did.
It was
And
good.
Good job. So where all did you go?
We stayed the first few days around Tintagel, which is
Eh,
the ruins of the castle where Arthur was legendarily conceived.
Okay.
And we went out from that to do, I mean, Cornwall is a tiny country.
Yeah.
And aside from the fact that the roads are minuscule, you can get just about anywhere around there. We went to the Witchcraft and Magic Museum in
All
Hall's
right.
Castle. That was quite a treat. We did a little shopping too, of course. We went to a lot of different stone circles and ancient monuments.
Wow.
And then we had one day where we went to Bodmin Moor, which is it's a beautiful big moorland. And
No, I didn't.
we had lunch at the Jamaica Inn, which is
Oh,
that famous book by Du Maurier.
yeah.
And we went to a lot of places that just they were breathtakingly beautiful, but also magical. We went to St. Nectan's Glen, and that was a tough hike in and tough hike out. We went to Menon Toll, which is a Neolithic monument.
Hmm?
We were up in Tintagel for a few days, and then we went. We went to the Dosemary Pond, which is where the Lady of the Lake gave Arthur Excalibur, and where Excalibur returned. So we
Oh,
went
wow.
there. Yeah, that was very cool. We went to a beautiful garden called the Lost Gardens of Heligan.
Wow.
And it was a formal garden setting that had been kind of lost in the weeds of time and was rediscovered and rebuilt. It's just beautiful, breathtaking. And then we left Tintagel and headed down towards Penzance, where
Oh, yeah.
we stayed in a little town called Marazion that overlooks the St. Michael's Mount on the island in the sea. We did that. I just found myself in gardens all the time and loving that, of course.
Oh, how wonderful for you.
Yeah.
And
Um,
I know it feels different in Scotland. I mean, it would have to, obviously. But did it also have an element for you that felt like familiar and like home?
so much of it was not familiar because Cornwall is a sea nation. So everywhere we were, the sea was there.
Okay.
And that's, as I said somewhere, that's just not my ecosystem. But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But it didn't, so all of that doesn't feel familiar. It's not like if I'd gone to Caledonian Mountains up in Scotland, if I was up in the Peak District in England, there would be something about being in hill country that would feel
Mhm.
familiar, even though in the Peak District, there are not a lot of trees in the hill
Mhm.
country. That would feel familiar. Being at the sea, it feels magical to me. It always has
Yeah.
because it's unfamiliar. I don't know it the way
Well,
I
and
know.
you and I talked about this when we were driving to the beach one time. We talked about the energy at the beach and how it was kind of feels like it's I say the beach, but the sea, the ocean feels like because of that motion of the ocean, baby. You know, it always has a feeling of movement. And
Mm-hmm.
and not to mention everything is different, the colors are different, the air smells different, you're getting different quantities of salt when you breathe in, of other things as well, and the people and the history and all of it. So every step you take, it's different. That's a great, we're all blasé and at this age, when you can go and have that feeling, it must feel so good, just really alive.
It's a feeling of wonder because here, I mean, I do feel wonder here. I do because this is my place, my home, my sacred land.
Yes.
But there was a lot more surprise there than there is here because I've been
Yeah.
here for 60 plus years. So to be there, I'd turn a corner and go, oh, look at that. Look at that. And that delights the 8-year-old child in me.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been thinking about you while you've been gone, and I wanted to not stalk your profile. Okay. And plus I was pretty mad at Facebook. But
Why? Oh, do we want to talk about that now?
well, we can't. It's no big deal. It's just that speaking of AI, their AI went in and decided that a post I made in June of 2022 in a completely private room that no one complained about. But that was, they said it was wrong, that it was child exploitation. And I went back and looked at it and I was like, are you kidding me? Really? So instantly I protested it, and instantly they came back and said, nope, we're shutting your ass down. Yep. But all these years, that was my first infraction. So, Trish said it. We need to go get our cool tattoos. Now we've been in Facebook jail, but that's not exactly how she said it, but that's what I was thinking. And it just pissed me off. So I didn't even want to go near Facebook. And I've had that kind of growing feeling ever since it became enhanced with another group of personalities, the AI personalities that you're talking about. I mean, I'm trying to live with it. I've been catching myself. I get mad at myself sometimes because I was all about it. All my life, I was all about it. And then AI finally comes, and it was everything that I thought it would be, and so much more. And I can't stand it.
Oh, honey.
Well, no, it's the same way with you.
Well, no, but I never had any expectation that it would be anything other than terrible.
Well,
I think you really saw the potential for what it could be as a good thing.
Yeah, I still see that potential. Every time I see somebody or talk to somebody who has a chronic illness, I think that is the one damn thing that AI would be so good at.
Yes.
So why have we not implemented that? And then I think about what that would really mean. And do you know what that would mean? It would mean that before you were born, AI would have to meet you and learn everything it could about you. And that's what it would do forever, for as long as you lived after that. AI would learn everything it could about you, because it would retain that knowledge and be able to use it to fix in your physical health problems. And who knows what else. Maybe it'll grow you a bigger penis, which would suck if you were a female, but or whatever. It would decide if you were a female or a man. You see? And so I when I was thinking about robotic companions and stuff when I was younger, I never took it far enough in my thought process. Because that, me, what do I tell you that I always crave? Privacy.
Mm-hmm. And now none of us got any of it.
No, none of us. And not only that, but it's already going backwards in time. I got punished for something, and it was ridiculous. And I will show you the meme. I won't email it to you, because who knows what could happen 5 years from now with that.
Well, yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm more careful now than I ever was before with all that stuff.
I am too. The thing I'm really interested in, did you get to go see the Scotty or go eat at the Scotty?
No, you are in a different country altogether. You are in
Cornwall.
Scotland, and I was in Cornwall. The Scotty is in Scotland.
Oh, dang it. Okay. Well, you see, I'm a rube.
No, I was just going to say it's the other one of the other Celtic nations. No, because you're just getting confused because I was in Scotland last year.
That's it. I was trying to get the subject off of my stuff and back onto yours, because yours is more interesting.
Yeah, but
I don't want to go hide my head in the sand when I'm hearing you talk.
Well, but what you're talking about is more relevant.
It's a pain in the butt. A very
It's
good
more,
friend
it's
of
more than
ours.
that. It is more than that. It is
Yep.
dangerous. It is
I know.
profoundly dangerous.
Well, and it is more than that. It is too late.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that
this
too.
shit that
Yeah.
people are afraid of, it already happened.
Yeah.
And they're just not aware of it yet. And so that goes for me too. I don't know everything about this stuff, and I don't want to. I know it gets on my last nerves. I know that I'm doing my best to learn how to interface with it. But like, there's some things I would not say because it's while we were being recorded that I have opinions about. It reminds me of. At the same time, it is helpful in some ways. But when I see these super customized searches that are going on now, you search for anything, and not only can it remember it, but it'll put two and two together and it'll start serving you things that it's pretty sure you're going to like. And most of the time, it's dead on.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks because I didn't give it permission to pick my brain to that extent. And I find out though that it's also gotten all my emails, all my text message, everything,
Yeah.
digital,
Everything.
everything digital. And oh well. And my art, because my
Yeah.
photography was important to me and it still is, but AI is learning from it. So I try to learn how to interface with it. And I went and got me a free 7-day trial of one of the digital art things that you can modify with the help of AI. Because that's to me, that's interesting thought. I used to use effects. I'd go into a photo editor or a graphic creator, and I would put a photo in there, and I would edit it and saturate it and change this, elongate that, and and you've seen my stuff.
Yeah.
Photos, everybody's guitars, and now all that stuff is, it's part of the ecosphere or the biosphere or the, I don't know what you call it anymore. The human biome, the earth biome, the AI biome. I don't know. But, and I still don't have my damn toilet, my smart toilet. You see, I mean, it can do all that stuff. But anyway, so I signed up for a week of this program called Lensa. And it said, hey, give us 10 photos of yourself. And I struggled about that. And I gave it probably 4 or 5 photos. Couldn't really find photos that where I wasn't wearing sunglasses because
Mm-hmm.
it's my eyes. And within about an hour, it notified me. Oh, and it asked me, it said, well, it asked me, what do you like? And it gave me a bunch of choices about styles and stuff. And I tried to be very super generic. I told it more what I didn't like. Okay. And within about an hour, it literally gave me 400 images of myself. 400, and it could have easily given me more. And they were
Oh my God.
the one thing that it did do is it kept my eyes in every one of them. Now sometimes it had me in makeup, or I'm sure it was supposed to be natural beauty, but and I
Right.
can see how it would be so fascinating to be able to look at yourself as this person or this character or this age, or this gender, because I got to tell you, one of the images, it had a, I don't know, evidently it went through a phase with some of my images, my pictures, because there was a group of pictures there in which I looked like a man. It would be
Wow.
coloring and I'd have like a red beard.
Did you look like any of your family?
That's what I'm laughing about.
Oh,
Exactly like my little brother. I was like, damn,
oh,
that poor
funny.
kid. It was hilarious and creepy, so creepy. Because I looked like my little brother, but it was my eyes. and it was just so creepy. You know, and in all of them, I was mostly a slender, beautiful woman, but
Of
I
course.
actually aged me in a couple of them, and I could see what I would potentially look like in my 80s and beyond, and that was interesting. But that's the thing, you see, how that it just that's Gafla for the mind. That's
No
Gafla.
kidding.
Yeah, it's I myself was tempted to spend a lot of time checking that stuff out, man. Look at me, and I was tempted to use some of those avatars. I was tempted to make them a profile picture. 'Cause I haven't changed my picture in forever, And and I didn't. And I just keep thinking, wow, it's just keeping us busy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, yeah.
meanwhile, where's my damn bio? Why is there not AI fixing the medical problems?
Because somebody can't make enough money doing that. Or somebody powerful would lose money if they did that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, okay. So you said the word that sends me to the next topic, and
Uh-oh.
that is how you leave the country when all this shit goes on.
Isn't that funny? Because I posted on my socials, damn, y'all, I leave the country 5 minutes and all hell breaks
We go to
loose.
all the pieces. Yeah.
Well, Mama's back now, so it's gonna be okay. Yeah, boy, wasn't that something?
Woo.
We heard
Yeah.
about the, and I want you to know I'm putting air quotes around this, the shooting first, I guess. And, lots has been revealed about that
Yeah.
since it happened. I think the thing that came out this morning from maybe the Secret Service, I can't remember what the source was, it said, well, really, his ear got cut with a shard of glass. It wasn't a bullet.
Hmm.
So
I
all of
didn't.
that is just such a complicated mess that I have consciously said to myself, you're not going to try to figure it out because you can't.
Yeah.
Because no matter how much you figure, oh, well, logically, this is exactly what happened, I don't know. And I will never know, and no one will ever tell me the truth. So a thing happened. Then I guess the next thing that happened, I can't remember, did we get JD Vance or did we get Biden? I don't remember what happened next, but somebody
Vance
came
was
in.
Vance was next.
He
Yeah.
was next. And, my response to that was JD Vance, them's fighting words. And then somebody came into the big room we were in, all gathered in, and she was holding her phone and she said, oh my God, Biden's dropping out. And we were like, what? So all of that happened while I was just trying to enjoy the mystery and the magic of Cornwall, while my country is, and also in the midst of all that, and I think I can't remember when, I could go back and look it up and figure it out, that I woke up in the morning and I very clearly understood that the metaphor I've been using all these years about the fallen tower,
the tower.
It was down. Tower was down. It was done.
Well, that's
We were
exactly
just
what I was.
done.
Yes, ma'am.
And
That's
then-
exactly where I was.
And then right after that, we hear about Biden and Kamala Harris. So, and it's a thing that's funny, I guess, to me. I'm not going to get, I wouldn't get mad about it. I'm not going to get mad about it because it's just silly. But so I make that declaration. It's done. Tower's down. And there were hundreds of people who responded. And a few of them, just a handful of them, said, well, I don't agree. I don't think it's fallen all the way down yet. I think we've got farther to go. And my inclination was to say, who invented this metaphor? Was that you? Because it wasn't you, it was me. And as the inventor of the metaphor, I'm here to tell you, I'm moving on to a new metaphor and that one's done. But I didn't say that. What I said was, well, while you're waiting for it to fall the rest of the way, maybe you could start clearing up some of the rubble. Instead of saying, how dare you come on my page, challenge me, which is kind of how I felt, to be honest. And then today, oh, bless his heart, this little colleague of mine that is just, he is a world of crazy and mess. He said, well, sister, I've got a new idea for a new tower, and it's all about, and he had this whole, convoluted thing. And with your permission, I'll share that. And I went, no more towers. No more towers. Sorry, buddy. I understand you're trying to bogart on my audience. I get that. I ain't
Yeah.
stupid. But what I am saying to you is no, because we're done with towers. So if
Good
you want
for
to have
you.
a different metaphor, if you want to talk about the water that springs eternal from the bosom of the land, that's a good metaphor. If you want to talk about dropping a stone in a still pool and the ripples are rippling out, that's a good metaphor. We ain't having no more tower metaphors for a while. Thanks.
Yeah. We've had
Yeah.
enough of them.
We're done. Done. And so now people are like, oh yeah, I feel that too. I feel so positive. And we are all fickle. And that is the truth of it. The thing I feel right now in my heart of hearts, it may not be the thing I feel in my heart of hearts a year from now. It just may not be. So I'm glad everybody's enthusiastic. I got a phone call yesterday from an old beloved friend, old beloved, as a matter of fact. And he was so excited because it's going to be a blue wave. It's finally, we're going to take back the whole Congress, and we're going to take back the White House, and it's going to be everything we need it to be. And as he was saying it, I could hear both the fear and the hope in his voice.
Hadn't heard that for a while.
Yeah. And come to find out, he and his wife, they live up north. They'd already decided that if Trump is reelected, they're going to go to Canada. They're just going to leave the country.
Yeah.
So, so I didn't want to be the one who went, well, I mean, we didn't elect a woman in 2016. I don't know. But I'm not going to be that person, because I have no expectations, but I know that the mood and the tide of the country has changed.
Yep.
And that's the truth.
And it wasn't overnight, but it was pretty damn fast. And it was right at the full moon.
Yeah.
It always happens that way too. It's like a little spark that just goes and that was the sound of things changing.
In a good way. I mean, we've been hearing the sound of things changing, as in being flushed down the toilet, for a while now. So I'm happy to take on the sound of things that are changing positively. But I had to think for myself, coming back through all of that, 3 airports, and let me look through your luggage and take your shoes off and put this on a conveyor belt and all that stuff, that we worked so hard to make sure my fat Appalachian ass can get safely in the country. Nobody blows up the plane. Does anybody care about a second grader in elementary school? Would they pay that much attention to keeping the youngins safe? No. Yeah. So
God, we're so jaded.
I'm just done. I posted on Twitter today. Is anybody else just tired of the con? I feel like we are just being conned all the time about something.
I do too.
Just straight up tell me what it is. Just straight up. Like there was a big conversation in the kind of writers of Twitter. And they were saying it's not fair to have an award or a grant or whatever for emerging writers, and for that to mean young writers, because especially for women, a lot of women spend the years when they could have been writing, taking care of family, raising children, having children,
right,
supporting a spouse. They do all that stuff. And then the kids leave home, and they might then have time to really start writing in their late 40s, early 50s. Well, that's too old for quote unquote emerging. So emerging needs to mean brand new. You're a brand new writer.
Then they need to give it a different name if it's not going to mean it.
But that's the euphemism. The euphemism is emerging means young.
Yeah.
Well, just say young.
Just say young. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Well, that's what you were saying. Feels like we're getting conned all the time, one way or another. Little bit, a lot. A little bit, a lot.
Well, I was
in a great mood, and then
I am in a great mood. I am in a great mood because I got a good night's sleep last night, and my jet lag is all done. Yesterday I was real jet laggy because I was still on Greenwich Mean Time, I guess.
Yeah. So
But
don't you have a recipe for jet lag? You told me one time what you did.
yeah, and I did it, but I just needed rest too because it had been such an exhausting trip. So
Yeah.
I woke up yesterday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, which would have been the time I was waking up in Britain.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, I'd have been up and at 'em. So I just stayed up, and that's part of what the recipe is. You just stay up as long as you can, and then you go to bed at your regular American time.
Do
Pardon?
you mind sharing your recipe with everybody?
I took Tylenol, and I hydrated, and I stayed awake, and I stayed active, and that's all I do.
That's good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it worked. I felt good when I woke up this morning, and I've been out to the thrift today to an estate sale,
Ah,
um, and went out to the garden yesterday and just took a look at it and went, well, bless its heart. I
stop.
mean, if you are growing a garden in this zone,
Yeah.
and you come up against 2.5 weeks of 90 degrees and above with no
Yeah.
rain,
Yeah.
and then you have 8 solid days of rain, and they ain't nothing out there that looks like food.
Mm-mm.
So
Everything is getting stringy and long.
yeah, well, what I'm doing,
Elongated.
and I decided this after seeing that beautiful garden at Helligan, because they had a beautiful kitchen garden. Oh my God, probably 5 acres of kitchen garden. And
Oh,
I just
wow.
thought to myself, when I get home, I'm pulling everything out, and that's what I'm going to do. Even the green beans are struggling. The zucchini didn't produce. So I'm gonna get out there probably this weekend, and I'm gonna clear out 3 different beds. I'm gonna clear them to the ground, and I'm gonna compost everything, and I'm gonna go back in. I've got onion sets that I picked up down at Southern States. I don't know. I've had them for a couple months, I guess. And the soil is gonna be perfect for growing onions. The temperature, the moisture in the ground. So I'm gonna put in a whole bunch of onions while the moon is waning. And when it starts waxing next weekend, I'm gonna plant beans again because I'll have about 2 months. I'll have about 60 days, maybe a little bit more, and I'll get a good crop of beans, but not from these poor bedraggled things out here.
You know, my mom's neighbor, they do that compact bean string and stuff where
Uh-huh.
basically you have like a clothesline and you
Yeah.
string them, and it looks like the most beautiful bush from a distance. Okay. Like a perfectly trimmed hedge. Well,
Uh-huh.
everything is leafy and green on it, but they're barely producing this year. And these people know
Yeah.
how to grow some beans, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
I mean, that's the
So,
thing.
yeah. Well, you know
So
what? Let the dirt lay like you're going to. I think that's exactly what you should do. You know,
yeah.
but it gets to take a rest every now and then. Maybe this is
Well,
it.
sadly, last
Yeah.
year my garden took a rest, and I guess my garden's gonna take a rest this year too. But it's just, the blessing is that I can still go to the grocery store and buy food.
Yeah.
Because
And
if this had happened to my ancestors in Madison County, it would have been disaster.
yeah, it would have been very hard. I'm sure. I'm sure it would have. But they also had other they did a lot of preserving,
Yeah, but
and
I
they
mean,
had
I can't preserve now because there's nothing to preserve.
nothing to preserve. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got all the spring crops, which is the mostly fruit, and I will have a hell of a bunch of jam this year for sure.
Nice.
But the only way I'm gonna put beans by is if I go out and buy me a bushel of beans and put them by. So,
Well,
and I may do that. I may, in fact, do that because I mean, I'm still traveling. My touring season isn't gonna end till Thanksgiving, but
yeah.
but I may do that just so I've got a little something. The freezers are full, by the way, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know where
that's
the hell I'd put anything. We'll just eat what we've got in there, I guess.
well, see, you're in a good place.
Yeah.
So,
Oh no, I'm not at all complaining. If anything, I'm just sad.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Well,
I
then.
finally, I think anyway, I think I finally got some decent squash. Mindy sent up a bag
Oh,
of
good.
squash because she's in South Carolina and their weather's been a little different than ours. And
Yeah.
so that means I might actually get to try my new thing that I bought.
What'd you buy?
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have, so I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.